Okay, this says that we are live, and let me go live on my IG. It always takes just a second to catch up. All right. Were you able to share this on your socials, Kelly?
I was.
Perfect.
I actually just put out a 20-minute reminder on Facebook. So,
Okay. All right. So I'm going to minimize the IG. All right. So we are live. Let me pull up our little agenda.
yes.
Thank you to any and everyone who happens to be joining us right now. I am going to pull us up on my phone because you can't see the comments on Instagram, by the way.
Okay.
So on StreamYard, but you can see them on Facebook, I believe. So, Kelly, why don't you start your introduction? Thank you, everybody who happens to come. If you come in person or if you're going to come a little bit later, please stop by. This will be recorded. I'm going to try and put it up on my YouTube. I don't know how to do that, but we're going to figure it out. And it's also going to be saved here. So if you have the opportunity to join us later, please check this out. I really think the information is going to be useful and you can carry it into your everyday life. So I am going to first, I would like to set our intentions
Yes.
for our time here together. So we are here to talk about how movement, especially Pilates, can support women navigating stress, transitions, and your wellness goals. So, Kelly, I'm going to have you introduce yourself first, and then we'll go from there.
Sounds good. Hi, everyone. I'm Kelly Forkenbrock, aka Goddess Grounded. That is the name of my health, wellness, and movement brand. It will be a year old on May 1st, which is just mind blowing. I've been on this movement journey since I was 8 years old. I started movement by watching. This is really old school. Priscilla Patrick on PBS when I was 8 years old. And she's like an OG yoga guru. And I started just doing it on my Rainbow Bright blanket. And then, of course, as I got older, I continued with yoga, started doing Pilates when it made its resurgence in my 30s. And then I started teaching now here in my 40s. And at 46, I am a certified Pilates teacher. And as of last weekend, I am a registered yoga teacher as well with 400 plus hours between both disciplines. I believe that movement is life. It is not about longevity. It is about mobility as we age. And that's why I really enjoy what Wildflower Coach is doing here by creating this platform. She is also one of my clients from the very beginning, like out the dirt, out the mud. Like when we started this, when Goddess Grounded was started just about a year ago. So I'm really thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to be on Wildflower Coach's platform to talk about movement through life and how it impacts our nervous system. So really excited for this chat.
Awesome. So, my name's Nakia Fleming. I am the founder of Wildflower Lifestyle Coaching, and I created my coaching business because I really wanted to help women to be able to take care of themselves through any season of life. I found myself in a season where I just didn't know how to take care of myself. And I wanted to make sure to share everything that I've learned and continue to learn with other women. I've been a nurse for 20 years. I've been and a wife for 20 years. I've been a mom for 32 years. And so I feel like there's so much that I didn't know in my early years that I would love to connect with women about that we're growing together. I recognize just I think probably midweek that this was done on Easter, that we picked the day for Easter. But I'm hoping that if people are in between their meals or church services or however you celebrate Easter, that you can pop in. Either way, the information will be available later. I fully agree with Kelly that movement is monumental. I've been taking Pilates with Kelly for consistently for a year. There has been, I feel like, such growth in my own strength, my ability. I suffered a back injury probably about 8 years ago now that had me laid up for a while. It made me reevaluate my life and have a bunch of self-discovery. It also created a space that reminded me that I wanted to stay healthy. So movement is important. I'm very much about building muscle. And I love the benefits of Pilates and yoga. And you do not know how stoked I am to be able to sign up for yoga with Kelly. I've been doing yoga. I started doing yoga on We Fit when Cameron was a baby, and I had a toddler, a preteen, and a teen. There was no time for a gym. I had no idea what I was doing. Cameron is now 17 years old, and I am still practicing both. Yoga and Pilates have afforded me the ability to be able to slow down and breathe. They've taught me the strength in slow movement, that cardio is not my friend. I don't love it. I do it because it's necessary for my heart, but I prefer a more intentional workout. So I do love to lift weights, but I incorporate yoga and Pilates consistently, and that has been so helpful to me. And it's more than just the body part of it, right? So I think Kelly can speak to, it's the breathing, it's the mind body connection. It is how, when you are in tune and things are stretched and put where they're supposed to be and everything is limber, my digestion is better. I sleep better. I struggle between the idea of, do I want to do my Pilates with Kelly first thing in the morning? Because sometimes we have some morning sessions, but primarily I do them at 7 p.m. with her. And it's really great relaxation in the middle of my week, right before I go to bed. But I do love the energy that it provides when we meet at 7 a.m. So it's both. So this month is Stress Awareness Month, and I'm not sure, I don't see that anyone else has commented at this point, but we're going to move forward with talking about stress awareness. So if anyone is on with us, please share where you're tuning in from, if there are any things that are stressing you. And again, our intentions for today is to really talk about how stress can affect the body and how movement can kind of break the stress cycle. So I'm going to speak to the stress cycle. So stress manifests in your body during different life transitions, whether it's becoming an empty nester, if you're going through a career change, a relationship change, or just every day taking care of your family, running a business, having a full-time job, being a friend, being a mother. And so stress can sit in your body. For me, stress usually sits in the shoulder or my right hip, and it manifests that way. For some people, it manifests with lack of sleep or poor digestion. Some people are stress eaters. And so then again, it goes back to your digestion. And stress runs in a loop. I've been speaking about this mostly all month, that you have your stressor, and then you have your response to your stressor. And then there's the effect of your response from your stress response. And then it continues over and over again. I like to give the analogy of, on Monday, you have a stressful encounter with a coworker, and that encounter doesn't leave you feeling great. Monday night, you go home and you're kind of thinking about this, and it's bothering you and it's keeping you up. So Tuesday morning, you're not well rested because you didn't sleep well on Monday. You show up to work, but you're not showing up as your good self, right? Like, you're not showing up rested. You're not showing up in a space of gratitude. And so then you have another stress encounter that you aren't prepared for. So then you compound Mondays and Tuesdays together, and you go home and you have a terrible night. You find yourself in the bottom of a food or a drink or an activity that you know is not going to make you feel good. And on Wednesday, you show up and you feel even worse. And so then by Thursday or Friday, this is compounded over and over again. And what I like to talk about is ways to break this cycle. So instead of having the stress compound from Monday to Tuesday, let's break the cycle on Monday night. So you're going to get home, and instead of doing what you would normally do, let's do something different. Let's take some deep breaths. Let's practice some mindful movement. Let's do something along that to break this cycle so that it doesn't go into Tuesday. Kelly, can you share with us some possible movements that would help with the nervous system that can support your emotional well-being?
Absolutely. So I'll start by defining, for those who may not know, what Pilates is. And there are many definitions for Pilates. The definition that I've come up with through my practice and study is that Pilates is a series of exercises designed to improve everyday movement. What you'll find with Pilates and the fundamentals of Pilates, which I'll get into in just a moment, is that you're basically, a lot of the exercises that you see with Pilates are everyday movement. And I'm going to demonstrate some of those today, and everyone can feel free to join me as well. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fundamentals of Pilates. I have to count them every time. Each of these 8 fundamentals, again, support that everyday movement. Because just like Nakia said, as we age, as we get older, that mindful movement is what's going to keep us healthier. I'm just like Nakia. I am not a fan of cardio by any means. I too only do it just to keep my heart health. I have mild hypertension, so it's important for me to keep my blood pressure level and keep my blood pressure levels good. So cardio is helpful in that respect. But just like Nakia, I much more prefer slower mindful movement, which is breath-based, which brings us to the first fundamental of Pilates, which is breath. Breath is life. That is literally all that you need to know. Even if you don't practice mindful movement every day, on the days when your schedule just does not have, you don't have time to hit the mat or, take a walk or go for a run, you always have your breath. You have your breath from the time you are in the womb until literally your last breath on this earth. So even if you don't have mobility in the body, maybe you may be impaired, you may be bound to a wheelchair, you may have an injury, you will always have your breath. So breath being the very first fundamental of Pilates is key, because that is what's going to nourish you through movement. It's going to nourish you on and off the mat. The next Pilates fundamental is tall spine. And I always say this to my clients when we are in movement together. It's not about, this sir, yes, sir, stringent, very strong back, nor is it about being slumped over. It really is about this natural spine, the way your spine sits in your body, and respecting that. There's also extension and rotation. We do extension every day when we reach up for something off of a high shelf, when we're driving and we look back to see if we can switch lanes. All of that rotation and extension is something that we do in our bodies every day. Same with side bending, the fourth fundamental of Pilates. Lateral flexion, making sure that you can bend over, especially if you have a child. You remember those days holding those babies. And Nakia, you've got grandbabies, so holding those babies, sometimes you can't go over to,
yes.
Sometimes you're reaching to the side. Oblique strength, good posture as well. Shoulder stability and mobility. Every time you lift, every time you push, every time you pull, that is coming from your shoulder stability. And then, of course, there's ab engagement and upper ab curl. Upper ab curl, as I always tell my clients, is the key to what we do through our movement. Strong front, strong back. The abs are not just about the front and the back. And then there is pelvic mobility. And this is specifically for my perimenopausal women, my menopausal women, and my postmenopausal women. And especially for those of you who have carried children. The pelvic floor, naturally, gravity, you can't fight gravity. It's going to pull your pelvis down as you age. What you can do is create stronger structures around your pelvis in your menopausal stages to keep yourself lifted. So that's how it impacts the physical body. With the nervous system, so there is the sympathetic nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system. The flow between those nervous systems are controlled by the automatic nervous system. It controls your hormonal and chemical balance. And as you know, especially for those of us going through these transitions, that can impact your mental health as well as your physical health. When you have a calm automatic nervous system, which can be achieved through mindful movement like Pilates and yoga, you're having calmer sleep. You're sleeping better. I know that I am perimenopausal, and I will tell you, between that and I have my moderate sleep apnea. That's why I'm kind of clogged today because I had sinus surgery 2 weeks ago. Yes, just to help with my sleeping. And mindful movement, I find that when I do my yoga before bed, and this can be yoga you do in the bed.
Yes.
When you do your yoga before bed, it helps me sleep more soundly. Now, will I still wake up at 3 o'clock? Maybe. But I have the tools through my automatic nervous system to regulate my emotions, to recognize that I may have a racing brain that's thinking about 101 things at once at 3 o'clock in the morning, to step away from that, step into the seat of who I am and think, okay, my brain's racing and it can go ahead and race. What I need right now is some semblance of sleep because it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I got to teach at 7 a.m. So finding that emotional balance is so key when you have an automatic nervous system that's at rest. It also helps with digestion. That is another big thing. Digestion slows down as we age. Again, cardio and mindful movement are good for helping with digestion, especially cardio, honestly. I mean, it does help with the digestion quite a bit. But when you're also adding mindful movement, the stretching of the body, especially the twists, rotation, one of the fundamentals of Pilates, that can help with digestion as well. And another way that the last way I have that a calm automatic nervous system helps is with bodily healing. So if you are an active person, you may get injured a lot more easily the older you get. You stretch a little bit too much and you forget the way you stretched in your 20s is not going to hit it in your 40s.
No.
But with that is the bodily healing element that comes from a calm nervous system. Because remember, when you get injured, what's the first thing you think, especially if you are an adult with responsibilities? Oh, now I can't do this. Now I got to call the doctor. Now I got to do this. Now my kids are still going to ask me to do things. My spouse is still going to ask me to do things. Oh, I hate being impaired when I have an injury.
100%. I don't like to have to be still.
Yeah. And when we get upset about that, that's when the nervous system tightens up. But when you have a calm automatic nervous system, you recognize that, yes, this is an inconvenience, but I also have an opportunity to heal. Yes. I have an opportunity to rest, even if that rest is 10 minutes in between a busy schedule. Yes. I have that opportunity to say, you know what? I work a really good job and I do a good job at work. Maybe I can take a sick day and actually rest. And I know we hate to take our sick days because we want to save everybody else in our lives. Take a sick day for you.
Right.
Okay. It's your sick day. You work for it.
It's a mental health day or a mental rest day.
And a lot of firms are doing that now. The mental health days. Where I work a city job. I'm a librarian. I work for the public library of the city. And we have 3 mental health days, or what we call personal days, in addition to our sick day package. So it's not included with the sick days. They are 3 independent days for what's called personal time off. And using those for your mental health are so key.
Correct. Yes. I think it's beneficial that if you have the opportunity to manage your schedule, to be able to say, like, you put in your schedule this rest, right? Even if it's even if it's daily, if you don't have a full day, maybe you don't need a full day. Maybe you just need a lunch hour. And I'm going to take this lunch hour. And in this lunch hour, I am going to sit and breathe and stretch. That is all I'm going to do for this lunch hour. I am going to do that because the first part of my day was very stressful. Let me reset and recalibrate and come back to the second half of my day refreshed, revived, better for me and better for my team that has to come along with me, right? Like, I love that. I'm a huge proponent of naps. Not everybody has the opportunity to take a nap. We're adults. We didn't appreciate it when we were in preschool and when we were 6 that somebody was giving us time to take a rest. But even just in between my clients, often I will just get up and kind of come out into the loft and just stretch and breathe. Or I will take a walk around the neighborhood, getting that fresh air. It's very important. You have the tools. I think a lot of times we make it bigger than it actually is, or we make it more complicated.
And a lot of that is the imaging. You know, people think about yoga and they think that they have to be in this ashram. They have to be in this silent building with candles and sound bowls, and you have to be on this mat, and you have to have the perfect clothing, and you have to sit the perfect way. You can do yoga in your car. Do you understand?
100%.
Just as Nakia said, you take a midday break, you decide you got 30 minutes. If you want to take time to go into your car and breathe, you can do yoga in your car from your driver's seat. That car is parked. You grab your armrest, you twist that, you grab the back of the armrest that you're in your car. That's rotation. You stretch back, you hold the back, the car seat head, and arch your back forward and come over. This is the extension. You can do yoga in your car. You can do it on the side of your bed. I tell folks, when you wake up in the morning, you don't even have to sit up to stretch your body. Right. Hug your knees in while you're in bed and bring your knees over to the side for some supine twists. Hug one knee in, extend one leg out, extend one leg up in the air. These are things you can do while you are literally laying in bed or sitting in your parked car.
Hi, Corey. Thank you for joining us. And I think you should find an instructor. Hopefully Kelly will start to put some of her lunchtime yogas up, and you can pull up her YouTube or pull up her social media pages, and she can talk you through some breath work. And also, if you see a 30-minute video that you love and you only have 10 minutes, do 10 minutes. 10 minutes is better than none. I used to get intimidated, like, oh, I don't have an hour, but I do have 15 minutes. So I can do this warm up. I can do part of the workout, and then I can just stretch, or I can come back to it. I think it is definitely a mindset shift. We do think that you need to be this very tiny toned lady with all these muscles to go into a yoga class. When I tell you, there are some ladies who are very curvy, who are much older, that show up in a yoga class and can move things that I cannot move, that I probably couldn't have moved 10 years ago, but they're in there, they're in the practice. When I tell you, I've had some conversations with some of these ladies who have walked through some seasons. They're definitely older than I am, and they've walked through some seasons. And in those seasons that they've walked through, they can tell you, I can deal with my family and the things that have happened, the losses, the tragedies, the joys, all of that, because my mindset looks different. I know how to compartmentalize. I still prioritize myself every day, even if it's only 15 minutes. If I can't come to this 60-minute yoga class, I will sit in a chair. They may be visiting a sick family member in the hospital and spending their days in the hospital. So instead of going to a yoga class, they will do some of the breath work in sitting next to a sick one's bedside. There are so many options. And I do think that you don't know where to look, right? Like, you don't know who to go to. I would have not known about yoga if it hadn't popped up on my kids' video game. I've seen other people do it, but it didn't occur to me that I can do this at home with 4 children and a husband doing their own thing in this house on the Wii. And it has progressed from there. It made me curious to go and to look for other ways to take care of myself. And I employ anybody who's watching this live or later to become curious about how to take care of yourself, to become curious about how to take care of the body that you're in. We're all going to go through stress. Something new comes up almost every day. But it's how you deal with it and how you walk away from it that makes the difference on how you manage it. Because there are some things, other adults, children, that you don't want to let those things be the thing that takes you out, because you can't pause and take a deep breath. I have been talking to my clients consistently. I talk to them when we're in coaching, but definitely since I've been doing these workshops about stress, about 2 minutes of mindful breathing and what that can do to reset your nervous system. And those 2 minutes can be done while you're on a Zoom. Those 2 minutes can be done while you're sitting in a long-winded meeting. They can be done while you are driving. Of course, when you're driving, you're not going to close your eyes to do this, but you are going to take the deep breaths. And I love the breathing of 4. And Kelly can definitely speak more about breathing, because when she and I are doing Pilates, there are a lot of times that I want to move faster than my breath. And so she reminds me, nope, it is take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out. And then I have to slow my movements down. I would like to it's uncomfortable. I'm stretching something that I didn't want to, But
Yeah.
she reminds me, like, no, you're going to breathe through this. You're going to be very intentional about breathing a little bit longer here. Let's take a pause. And
Yeah.
so I love that.
Yeah. Breath is so essential. We take it for granted because we do it automatically from
Mhm.
literally from the womb. It isn't, breath does not get the attention it deserves until it is impaired.
Definitely.
Whether
Yeah.
it's because you, like me, you have a slight sleep apnea issue and you've got clogging in your sinuses and you've got some impairment, to more major circumstances like people with COPD or major breathing malfunctions. But we have to know that our breath is life, that it fuels everything that we do. It is with us when we're not even with us. Okay.
Right.
We're not even connected to ourselves. And we all have instances where we're not connected to self. But breath is always there. And that's why it's so important to utilize that breath whenever you can. Find moments of mindfulness throughout your life. And I know people think, I'm too busy. You've got 5 minutes. The time that it takes you to check your email, to
Yes.
text back your friend, to order a cup of coffee, if you can sacrifice 5 minutes to do those mundane activities every day, then you can take 5 minutes to honor your breath. That can be as simple as just sitting at one great way you can do it, just like Nakia said, when you're driving at every stoplight, inhaling, being mindful of the inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. That's it. Just
Can you demonstrate for us a quick, so that people can take that away with them later?
Absolutely.
My niece Maddie, who is a teenager, she's a junior this year. She wrestles, and she says pausing and breathing is something that really helps her. So she is in a very intense sport. She's a teenager. She knows the value of taking that pause and breathing. It helps her to regroup, whether she's in between, like if she's pausing in between opponents, or even just managing high school, because that's stressful as well.
Yeah. It can be as simple as placing one hand on the chest to honor your heart space, one hand on the belly, right at the belly button, to honor your emotions, and then just breathing in through the nose and then out through the mouth. And as you continue with breath, there are many types of breathing that you can do. For instance, 4 square breathing is something I do with my clients. We inhale for 4 counts. We hold that inhale for 4 counts. We exhale for 4 counts. And then we hold that exhale for 4 counts. So it works like this. We inhale for 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. 2 more rounds. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3. Last round. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Take one inhale in deeply through the nose and exhaling out of the mouth. So 4 square breathing is something that you can do while you're sitting in the office. You don't even have to do it out loud. I promise you, no one will know. We always think someone's paying attention to us. I'm the type of chick, I do chair yoga at my desk. I have a little cubicle. I share it with someone. I'm minding my business, and trust me, in the words of Bobby Brown, whatever I'm doing for you. If I'm breathing and taking care of my body, trust me that it will benefit you as my colleague. So yes, never be ashamed to take those steps. And 4 square breathing is something you can always have in your back pocket to help ground yourself. It's excellent, especially when you are about to go into a less than comfortable conversation or interaction, like at work or with family. And it's great at grounding you after having an intense conversation or conflict or encounter with someone. It is a great grounding breathing method.
And I fully stand behind that. I feel like if I've come away from a intense conversation, I've had to learn how to stand up for myself with some things and do it with grace. And so, because I'm not afforded the ability to just say what I want to say whenever I want to say it. It doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't help my integrity. So I can't do that. But the pause, to be able to do this 4 square breathing and having a pause and then reflecting on how I feel, I get to decide, does this make me want to go back and readdress the conflict? Do I still need to think some more about how I want that conversation to go? Or is this something that I'm okay to walk away from? And so, in that, this gives me a really great space to pause. But instead of just pausing and rolling around in my head, I've paused and come back with clarity.
Yeah.
And I fully stand behind this. I hope that you guys always try this. Okay, Corey said, silly question. On the exhale for the 4 counts, are you just holding your breath for the 4 counts before?
Yep. So,
yes.
Yeah. So when you exhale, you're holding. You're not inhaling. You're not exhaling anymore. You're just holding. Then you inhale, refill your body with that breath. Hold at the top. Hold that for 4 counts. Exhale. The body is emptied, and you hold that for 4 counts. So, yep, you got it.
And Kelly, Corey, it is not a silly question. You want to do it the right way, and then you want to get the benefits of it. It's not a way that we normally breathe. Like we, yes, regularly take a breath in and out, but we're not intentional about the pause. And so, yes, it is important to just hold again. So it's an inhale, a pause, an exhale, a pause. And you're going to do that again. I love 2 minutes of that. You can sneak away to the bathroom and do this while you are in, like if you're in between a conflict or you're in between meetings, like, okay, that meeting was really stressful. You don't have time to go to your desk, but nobody's coming to look for you for 2 minutes in the restroom, except for your toddler. I take that back. Your toddler or your teenager that has tea that they want to show you. Corey says, I wanted to automatically think, breathe. Yes, she had to stop and think to pause. Exactly. That is it. That is the think to pause. And while you're doing that, your nervous system is resetting. Your nervous system is saying, oh, okay, I'm safe. Oh, okay, I don't have to protect my gut. I don't have to protect my heart right now. Yeah. I can continue to do all the things that I'm supposed to do. I can continue to process your lunch. I can continue to make your circulation great. I can continue to give good oxygen to your heart and lungs and brain. I can prepare you for the next thing. I can oxygenate your muscles. It's such a reset and it's necessary. Yeah. You'll find that if you ever have to do, and hopefully this doesn't happen for anyone, but if you ever have to do any sort of cardiac rehab or physical therapy, it's going to be the same thing. They're going to be moving you and shifting you, but they're also going to teach you about breath. I talk about breath all day at work. It is the first thing I tell ladies, and it's the first thing they tell me they don't want to do. But when I pause them in the midst of their labor and make them think about their breathing, you can't be thinking about the pain as much if you're concentrating on your breathing. Also, your muscles need that oxygen to be able to do what they're supposed to do. So, Kelly, if you have some movements that you would like us to share, yes. I pulled out my mat, but we can also do them in the chair. Either way, I would love for you to show us some movements that we can incorporate in our busy lives.
Absolutely. So I have my mat out, of course. I love to keep my mat out. Let me make sure that's centered. I thought I had it as centered as possible. Let's see.
I did not center mine well. We are going to travel over here to my mat as well, because why would I let my Pilates instructor give us some tips and I not join?
All right.
I stayed in my pajamas and a wildflower t-shirt, and I was like, no, Kelly's going to show us some stuff. I want to see.
All right, so can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Fabulous. So finding the center of your mat, if you're seated, you can easily do these things seated as well. So if you're sitting in a chair and you don't have a mat, I'll show you some modifications to do these exercises seated as well. So first, we're going, if you're on the mat, crisscross applesauce, cross your legs here. If you're on a chair, just plant your feet down on the chair, hands on the knees, whether you're sitting, whether you're on a mat or a chair. If it's safe for you, you can lower your gaze or close your eyes.
You know what, Kelly? I'll demonstrate on my couch, on a chair for you.
All right. All right. So we find ourselves seated. If it's safe for you to close your eyes or lower your gaze, please do so. And let's just find some breath here. We're inhaling through the nose and exhaling out of the mouth. With your inhales, really feel as if you're lifting out of the pelvis, below the belly button, pushing that air in to inhale to fill up everything from the top to the bottom. And then exhale, let the shoulders slide down as you release your breath. One more inhale here, inhale. And exhale out of the mouth. We'll start with some seated bends. Open the eyes, inhale your arms up. Exhale, lowering your left hand down, reaching up and over with your right. Now, if you are on a chair, you can place your left hand on your hip or on your thigh and just reach over with that right hand. Inhale, bring both arms back up again. And exhale, lower the right hand either to the thigh or to the mat and reach up and over with the left. Good stretching here. Really try to shine the chest forward. When we reach over, sometimes we want to look down. Shine that chest forward. Be proud of your breath. Honor your breath by shining your chest forward. Inhale, arms up. We're going to go into some rotation. Now, we turn. Place the right hand on the left knee, placing the left hand behind you as a kickstand. And we are rotating here. We're rotating from the belly button, not the hips. So keep those hips planted. From here, hold this rotation to inhale again, lifting out of the body, top of the head to the ceiling. And then exhale, get an extra little rotation here. Let's get that on the other side. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, twisting. Coming in here. Now, again, you can do this on the side of your bed. You can do this in a chair. You can do this in your car. Finding that twist. Inhale to lift and lengthen, top of the head to the ceiling, and exhale to twist. Very good. Unravel here. Now, for everyone who's seated, keep your hands on your knees. For those on the mat, we're going to get on all fours. And we're going to do some cat-cow here. This is where we find our shoulder stability. Now, setting up for cat-cow, if you're on the mat, you want shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. If you're seated, you just simply want to have your hands on your knees here. From here, we're going to drop the belly. If you're on your hands and knees, you'll drop your belly, shine the chest forward. If you're sitting, you're just shining the chest forward. Inhale here. And then exhale. Find your shoulder stability. Push the mat away as you arch the back. You're looking at your thighs now, whether you're seated or on the mat. Twice more. Inhale, drop the belly. Pull the chest forward. And exhale. Coming into our cat. Curving, curving, curving. Finding that good stretch. This feels so good first thing in the morning. One more time. Inhale. Drop the belly. Shine the chest forward. And exhale. Finding your length here. Very good. So I think those exercises, that's just a quick 5 minutes. And there's so much more you can do. But I think that you can get your breathing, get your lateral, get your stretching, get your rotation, and then also opening up the back and the abs with the cat-cow. That is great functional movement to start your day.
Yes, I totally agree. And also don't forget, shameless plug, that you can go to Kelly's website and you
Yes, you
can sign up
can.
to do some yoga with her, and she does it virtually. I'm in Texas. She's still in Iowa. We met
Yes.
many years ago, but she's still in Iowa, and we meet consistently. I would love to be able to do Pilates on the reformer. Here's the thing. I don't want to give up my time with Kelly or my time in my gym to be able to do that. So when my season changes and I move to that shift, I still don't believe that I'm going to give up this time because number one, I love the connection, but it also it's very personal and it works to both of our advantages, right? So for me, I can be at home and do it. I don't have to go anywhere. I've been doing it mostly on my bedroom floor. I have to make it convenient for me in order for me to be consistent. If it's not convenient
Yeah.
for me, I personally am not going to be consistent. I have a lot of irons in the fire. I have a lot of people. I have a full-time job. I'm running a coaching business. And I'm just still a person. And so I need to make it convenient to me. And it needs to be, not that I'm not strong enough for the reformer, but I'm definitely gaining my strength by working with Kelly. And I do like it to be more personal.
Yes.
Kelly, I want you to tell us, so we've talked about some of the tips and trips. Can you tell us some of the barriers that people have talked to you about not coming to Pilates? Can you tell us so we can talk about like ways to work around those? Because I have some mom and woman tips, but tell us some of, as the instructor, what you've seen.
Yeah, what I've seen, sometimes people think that because, they may have scoliosis or some other kind of bodily limitation, or what they see as a bodily limitation, that Pilates will not work for them. This is why each of my clients, I do a health intake with them from the very first day so that we can have an honest dialogue about what their bodies can do and what challenges their body at times. I never like to say that a body can't do something, especially when it comes to Pilates, because there's always a modification. There's always an accessible way to have Pilates, yoga, or any kind of other mindful movement in your life. Secondly, when I meet with a client, and Nakia will tell you this, I will have an idea of what we're going to do that day, but at the end of the day, this is your session. So when you have a private session with me, whether it's online or in person here in Iowa City, it's all about you, boo. The first things I'm going to ask you at every single time we talk, I'm going to ask you two questions. I'm going to ask you, how are you feeling physically? And how are you feeling emotionally and mentally? I ask those two questions because I'm not trying to get in your business, but I want to know what it is that you're bringing to the mat. Because it's very hard to say, I've had a shitty day at work. I'm sorry, I said shit. Didn't mean to say that. It's Sunday. I had a bad day at work. My kids are getting on my nerves. My mama's getting on my nerves. My spouse is getting on my nerves. But I got to do this. I got to do Pilates. You get to do Pilates. And I know sometimes you come to that and you don't feel like doing it. That's why I always ask, how are you feeling mentally? How are you feeling physically? And from those tips, from that information, you can share as little or as much as you want. From that information, I will tool a practice for us. There have been times, Nakia will tell you, where I may have had a nice, intense, like, oh, we're going to burn, let's get in. But if my client needs something that's more restorative,
right,
we're going to do something restorative. Likewise, if my client's going through something and they just feel like, right now I want restorative, but I also want to work. What I love to do is ease you in with a nice warm up of good stretches, give you about a 30-minute block of some good work, some good intense work. And then I give you 15 minutes of long stretching. Now, typically my typical workout, you get about a 5-minute cool down. But when I see a client who's having a tough day, but still wants to engage and still is like, I still want to like work today. I don't want it to be too, restorative. I want to work. I'll still give you that good cool down right at the 15-minute mark when we have 15 minutes left. So that's the greatest thing about Pilates is that. And some of the barriers besides physical movement, emotional, mental health can be a barrier. It can be a big barrier. we don't want to work out because and some people try to avoid mindful movement because they feel like their mind's going to go to the one thing that they want to avoid thinking about.
Right.
And there are ways to do that too.
Yeah, I have some lower back stuff. And so sometimes I will come into a session where I'm worked up about something. I'm holding it in my hip, but by the time Kelly and I are done, I've released the hip, released some of the emotion, and I can move forward much better. It definitely, I love the personal touch of it. And I think that that's one of the reasons that we consistently meet. Like, I love Pilates, and there's many ways that you can do it. There's videos online, there are classes in communities, there are ways to do it. But if you want something very personal, find what works for you. Everybody who's going to the Pilates studio doesn't need to be in a Pilates studio if that doesn't work for you. I think a lot of times as women, we want to do what we see others doing, and that's great to emulate that, and if that works for you. But if that is not something that is going to serve you in this season, if that is not something that's going to serve your body, serve you mentally, do what's best for you. So if something private or even semi-private, if you have 2 or 3 friends and you can get an instructor to coordinate a workout for 2 or 3 friends, do that. If you don't want to be in a class with 30 other women, don't do that. If that's going to prevent you from taking care of yourself, don't do the things that's going to prevent you. Ask questions. Please come to my community or Kelly's, even if it's not about Pilates, about other ways, other alternatives to take care of yourself. Kelly and I recently, I'll share because we've shared before, she just recently did a cleanse reset. And so what works for somebody else doesn't work for everybody. And so that reset it was her own. She worked it into the way her schedule works, her family dynamic. What she needed from that cleanse is what she got. And she got to take those tools with her and to proceed on with her life. I can't diet like my friends diet. I can't eat like my friends eat. I lift with other lifters. I can't do what they do. I have to make it work for myself. And if you don't know where to go, please check out one of our supportive communities. Drop us a DM. It doesn't even have to be about us coaching you or anything. We just want you to know that we're here for support. We're here if you have questions. Please just ask. The only way that we know these things is to talk to each other about it. Kelly's not the only one walking through perimenopause. There are so many of us. Me and my friends are talking about it a lot. Like, are you suffering with this? And a lot of times we feel like we're supposed to be suffering alone. Our mothers and grandmothers did not talk about this stuff. But we have information, we have social media, we have connection. We're different mentally. We are more emotionally intelligent. And so we do have the possibility to talk about it. If you have a symptom that you're walking through life, don't just assume that you're in your 40s and you're supposed to feel like that. Let's talk to somebody. She said, period is no joke. Like, yes, like talk to somebody and say, like, is this normal? Because it may be. I have a client, she let me share this, who did have a hysterectomy, and she had a hysterectomy, but was still suffering from some symptoms. And I said, that's not correct. Please go speak to your medical professional and see if there is something. And it was something so simple for her to change something in a diet and add a vitamin. And she's like, oh, but she thought because I took care of this problem that this is the result of it. That was not correct. Her body was missing something. She got to find the information and now she feels better. Again, you kind of have to spend some time with yourself, rechecking what's aching, what's not aching. Spend some mindful breathing. You can be like, oh, I just have a kink over there.
Breathing on. Yes.
Yeah. Like that, like, oh, I'm sore over there. But if you don't ever move it about or you don't ever pay attention to it, you won't know to correct it. So I think that we talked about almost everything. I want to ask, some people were asking, we've talked about breath work. We've talked about ways to incorporate in your day. I'm a huge proponent of habit stacking. I live by this little trick because I have a busy life and I need to keep my habits all together. Corey says she has had a partial and she's suffering through perimenopause. And her and I have talked about some different things that she needs to do to kind of work through that. But you shouldn't have to suffer. Somebody said these are our golden years. I don't believe that. I think that's another way that adults bamboozled us into believing that adulthood was great. But I do believe that there are so many ways to work perimenopause. And Corey, I have a perimenopause coach that I will send you her information, and she has been super helpful. And I think I'll probably maybe do a live with her so she can share more information to my audience as well. But one of the ways that, like Kelly was saying, that you can stretch and do yoga on the side of the bed in the morning. So if you find yourself that you are a person who's only getting up 30 minutes before you need to get your day moving and all of that, there are some mornings where I have 2 hours to myself, and there's some mornings where I have just the time to wash my face, brush my teeth, and throw some clothes on. One of the things I do is very much a very intentional stretch while I'm brushing my teeth and doing my morning face stuff, which that needs to be another live. I need a skincare professional to come and talk to me about that. Anyway, I will do a half stretch at the sink while I'm brushing my teeth. So I make sure to do a very intentional, what are the hamstring stretch. I do some heel lifts to kind of get my ankles moving. And again, I'm privy to a lot of these stretches because I've done yoga and Pilates with great instructors. And so I know all the different things that I need to do, but I will stretch while I'm standing, drinking my water, waiting for my coffee to brew. I take Logan to the bus at 6:35 every morning, and I'm sure the neighbor whose house we stand at the end of their driveway. First of all, I know that their alarm system is probably alerting them that we're out there, but I'm sure if they check their cameras, they will see Logan and I stretching in their driveway in the morning, waiting for this bus. When I tell you, it is a habit that even my 8-year-old granddaughter is doing it. Like we're doing this and we're doing some hip stretches and bending over, and she gets to go on the bus a little more energized because it is the crack of dawn, literally, for this baby going to school. Yeah. And I get some movement in my joints before I go back in and do whatever is next. So those are the things that I wanted to share about other ways to get some movement in and to stack some habits. And then you'll learn how, as you're learning to do these breathing, as you're learning to be more mindful about your movements, how to throw them in. You're standing in the grocery store and somebody else is taking a while to get groceries done. Not a big deal. Costco's got a big basket. Do some side bends. And if you think that you're weird doing it, there are people doing weirder things in public. Also, you become an example to other people. I do a lot of weird things at work for movement. My coworkers now follow suit. I walk in between patients. I will stretch in the chair, especially my hips. I put one leg over
hips
the other.
Hold the emotions. Hips hold the emotions.
Yes. And I will lean forward to release my hips. I'm sitting at a computer. Does anybody know that I'm actually doing a stretch, or do they think that I'm just typing my note from talking to a patient? I'm doing both. I've got my right leg over my left knee and I'm leaning forward slightly. I can feel the stretch in my hip, in my IT band, and in my quad. And then I switch legs and I do it again. It is very helpful for me. Our chairs are not comfortable at work. They're not ergonomically safe for nurses. Can you imagine? But we're uncomfortable. We sit for a long period of time. If I'm not holding somebody's leg, I'm probably sitting waiting for them to be ready to deliver. So that is one thing. Kelly, can you tell us if you have anything coming up, what you have coming up, where people can find you? And I did not do a good job by prepping our stuff and putting it in the chat, but we can, we'll put it when I put the replay up.
Absolutely. So I know I have to go soon because I have a client in about 5 minutes, but yes. I will be doing some stuff on the socials to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of Goddess Grounded during the first weekend of May. I'm really excited about that. And as Nakia said, I will start doing some yoga weekends. I'll be offering some private yoga on the weekend starting in June. May, I have my oldest is graduating from high school, and so I'm like all
Everywhere.
that. Yes, everywhere with that. But June, I will be adding yoga to it. I do invite everyone to visit my website at thegoddessgrounded.com. Don't forget thegoddessgrounded.com. As Nakia said, you can talk to me for absolutely free with what I call a lunch break. If you go to the website at thegoddessgrounded.com, up in the upper right corner, you'll see lunch break. You click lunch break, and then you're able to get a lunch break with me. And that is my client at the door. I'm so sorry.
No, you're okay. I
But
thank you for being here. And I will
yeah,
leave this tracker up, and you're going to find it on mine and Kelly's page. Please go enjoy your clients, and I'll finish
thanks
this out. Thank you
everyone.
so much for your time, Kelly.
Thanks.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're here, if you wanted to share with your family and friends, this is our mindful movement tracker. I tried to get it formulated for Kelly's audience as well, but we will have to do another one for her. This is going to be on my bio site. If you go to my link, my bio site link in Facebook and in Instagram, this will be there. It'll also be available on my website. It's www.wildwellnesscoach.com. And then you can find me on these socials. Please send me a message, schedule a coffee chat. Those are my favorite times of day. I love you too, Corey. Thank you so much for being here. So this mindful tracker will help you to track some new habits. It'll help you to just kind of shift your thinking. If you can't do all of the things on the mindful tracker, keep it and see where you've come from. There may be a Monday and Wednesday that you can do all of the things, and there may be a Tuesday and Thursday where you can only do two. But this will help you to start to build the habit of becoming more mindful, taking better care of yourself, so that you're able to take care of those that are around you, or just so that you can feel better. Again, I thank you guys all for being here. Thank you for checking out the information. And please find this tracker. I will make sure that it gets up within the next 24 hours. And the replay will be on my YouTube. And that is at the Wildflower Coach on YouTube. All right. Thank you guys all for being here. Happy Easter.